Uprisers, good morning and happy Monday. It is Trisha LaCroix once again with Sacred Uprising Institute and Conference, and we are awakening the consciousness of infinite love within you. So today we have Dak Brown, and Dak is going to be discussing it's about, well, actually, Dak and I were having a conversation before we even started. Here, let's see, bring them on camera, add a few minutes ago. And this conversation that Dak wants to have today really extends by far so much further than what I think, hey Annette, than what even the topic line is. So we were kind of getting lost in the conversation before we even got on video here. So hey Dak.
Hello.
Dak is our teacher, our wisdom keeper, who really focuses on Christ consciousness. And it's one of those things I absolutely love about you. It shines throughout you, within you. It's through your eyes, your face, your smile, everything about you, Dak, Christ consciousness. And I absolutely, even listening to your voice inspires me and changes me. So I'm so grateful that you're here.
You make me blush just every time you give me these compliments.
I can't help myself. Everybody loves you.
Oh, come on. I'm glad to be here. I am glad. Very, very glad.
Well, before we jump in, just let me remind everybody, we got the Sacred Uprising Conference coming up September 18th, 19th, and 20th. And it is right outside of Santa Cruz, California. It is up in the mountains. It's at Mount Madonna. You can check out the information about our conference at sacreduprising.com. We have only 3 videos this week. I kind of slowed down the videos because I've got so much work to do regarding the conference. But many of our teachers are on these videos. So make sure that you check that out and go subscribe to us on YouTube so you can always stay up to date to what our videos are about. So Dak, let's do this. Let's do it.
So the topic that I had for this week is, it's kind of like a two-sided coin, and I want to address each coin independently, each side of the coin independently, and then put them together so you can see what I'm talking about. The first topic that I want to talk about is study war no more. It's a little song that we were taught when we were young. Gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the river. Right. Study war no more. And we always, in Christianity, we're talking about heaven, and one day when Jesus comes back, that we will have to study war no more. But then a lot of what we were taught otherwise was that we live in a battle, that we're constantly warring in the world. And so even Paul talks about in his epistles that we should put on the whole armor of God, that we could fight against the wiles of the devil. And I had adopted, and did not know it, a lot of that warring and that fighting type of mindset just from my religious beliefs. And I want to tell you that if you go out of your house looking for a fight, you're going to find one.
You're going to find one.
Somebody's going to trigger you. Somebody's going to push your button. Somebody's going to say something that sets you off. So that's what I found a lot, is that whenever I went out of my house looking to face the devil, then somehow the devil would show up. Now, the devil ultimately ended up being people. There was always somebody that it felt like that I was at war and that I was fighting against. But the way of a peacemaker, the way of Christ consciousness, is the way of love, which is a bit different from this warring mindset that I did learn in Christianity. I remember when I first awoke out of religion, naturally I felt betrayed. I felt like my parents had let me down, that they had taught me something that was totally erroneous, because, as you begin to pull the threads of religion and it starts to come unraveled, then you can see all the holes and stuff. And so anger was my natural kind of response. I was mad at them. I had parents that I had totally respected for 37 years of my life, totally lived underneath their jurisdiction and lived by what they thought of me. And when I finally woke up out of religion, I went to the opposite extreme. Then I was angry with them. I remember at one point, and now I shudder to think about it, I was cussing in front of my mother and father. It was like I went from one extreme of being really passive and docile to being extremely angry, because I felt like I was breaking loose from this control system. And I
I
don't
think
regret
that's
it now.
Yeah, no, I think that's very natural
Right.
because I had the same reaction. I was angry. I was so angry and so bitter that I had been put through this very controlling cult-like religion and that I had been lied to.
Right.
And so I did the same thing. I was lashing out about everything. Just so the pendulum swung to extremes.
Exactly.
But then I awoke
There you are.
and realized, thank God I was raised the way that I was, because it was a foundation to where I am today. Thank God.
And see, and that's that higher perspective that we want
Right.
that we want to deal with. I was caught in what is called the lower chakra system, where it
Right.
is survival, where it is
Right.
anger when you wake up from out of these systems. But as we transmute it and we get a higher perspective, as you said, we see that everything that we were taught has served for the greater purpose of where we stand now.
Right.
But
Right.
initially it was anger, and a lot of us and a lot of people, even now, we can get caught up in the day-to-day triggers or the day-to-day
Right.
problems that it misses, that it stops us from seeing the bigger picture or the
Right.
higher perspective. So
can I interject here for
yeah.
a second? So I'm going to bring up a touchy subject, but I'm not afraid of touchy subjects. Let's talk about politics here for a second, okay? If that's okay.
Yes.
So we have I am not a fan of Trump. Let's just put it out there because that's where this is going to start.
Right,
okay.
Right.
I had made a post. I had made a post yesterday. It was a joke, and it was a picture of me at the state capitol in Texas, and there was a picture of George Bush, and I was like standing like this under it. My boyfriend took the picture, and I said something about this is the second worst president of the United States, and I said too soon. It was just a joke, right? Well, so a few people got on the bandwagon and just started ripping up Trump, and then the people that like Trump were ripping up Obama. But this is the thing, and I've said this to many of my friends, I don't like Trump. Put it out there. I don't like him. I don't like him as a human being. I don't like his moral compass. He doesn't have one. I don't like his lack of integrity. I don't like that he sexual assaults women. I don't like he's a cheater. I don't like his politics. I don't like anything about him. However, he is needed.
He is needed.
He is needed because he is the example of the shadow side of the United States and of us that we don't want to look at, but we have to see it every day. He is the shadow side that we can look at that has to we have to have awareness brought to us. Awareness is female, and awareness is a healer. And that is the only way America can heal, is by seeing that every day and waking and healing ourselves.
Absolutely.
Because that's what happens. So that is just one of the examples of going, yes, I don't like this situation. This is really difficult to go. That's my president. In fact, he's not my president, but you know what I mean. Okay, I can't even say that. But that, you know what? He is bringing awareness, and he's doing a really good job with that.
Right.
So if nothing else, honor that.
So when you see people, and you brought up the issue of racism, which I live in the South, I live in Texas.
Yep.
I see subtle racism all the time around me.
Yep.
But if I'm a very easily triggered or very easily angered person, then I would walk around always mad. But what you got to remember is that whenever you see someone acting racist or engaging in racism, it took years and years and years of thinking to get to that mindset.
That's right.
Like, racism is not something that is new. And so if you think that you're going to fight one person and cure racism, then you're deceived. Your battle is not with a person.
Right.
We don't wrestle against flesh and blood. We wrestle against mindsets, against systems, against principalities. I was teaching to someone, and I was talking about, how do you cast out a devil? You annihilate the mindset, or you displace the thought processes that has enthroned him. So racism and stuff, you don't fight racism by fighting people. You don't.
Right.
You don't. Your battle is not
you don't fight
people.
You don't fight the devil, quote unquote, by fighting people.
Exactly. It's by displacing the mindset that enthroned that thinking in the first place. And so how do you displace the mindset of racism? With love, with a higher example. With unity. And so where racists say us against them, then you need to make sure that your language is all about uniting, that your language is all about bringing people together. I'm straight. Other people are gay. Pardon me, I said I'm straight. Pardon me. I'm gay.
I was like, wait, did something change? Because there's going to be a bunch of women going, me.
I'm gay, but I cannot have an agenda or something against straight people. I'm
Right.
black and I can be proud of who I am as a black person, but at the same time, I cannot hold white people exclusive or different than me.
Right.
We are
Right.
one. And so
We are
whenever we
one.
speak in languages that is divisive, it is showing that there's a war in us that has not been solved, that has not been resolved. And so the study war no more thing is you've got to come to peace within yourself. You've got to come to love within yourself. You've got to come to acceptance within yourself. Acceptance means even accepting people who are different than you, who think differently than you. When you look at
Right.
how Donald Trump is elected, I did not know that there were massive parts of America that even during the Obama administration, they felt left out. I was totally oblivious to this until Trump was elected. And so rather than fight and get upset, why was he elected? We've got to intelligently, which is, if you look at that chakra system, the crown chakra is where we have that higher level of intelligence. And nothing drives out ignorance like the light of illumination and intelligence. Right. So we don't wrestle against these systems by fighting one another. We actually have to displace the mindsets again that set them up and put them in place.
It's interesting because this meme's been coming up quite a bit and everybody's heard of it. It's not what happens to you that's the problem. It's your thought process of what is happening. It's how you think about it is what the problem is.
Absolutely.
So we all have these issues. We have, whether it's political, whether it's, with religion, or whether it is with our neighbor or our friends, or the different ways, even with spirituality. I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, but there are other spiritual people I don't agree with.
Right.
But you know what? If you take that higher road of going, yes, but it's right for them, and give them that honor to understand that's right for them, that's oneness. That is being kind, because everybody is a mirror. Like you said, I don't go, there's times that I'll look at somebody, I'm like, I don't agree, but I don't know how this is a mirror. But regardless, everything is a mirror because we're one. We're all looking at each other in the eyes. We're all seeing things within each other, and that is a reflection within ourselves. It's parts that are being healed. So if you can go, okay, this is being presented to me because there's something to heal. That way you, instead of being angry at that person, you can find compassion and love and go, okay, this is trying to heal me. Thank you for trying to heal me.
You'll notice that if you respond out of anger to anger, the only people that are going to hear you are people who are angry already.
So absolutely.
The very people that you want to win, the very people that you want to maybe see from another perspective, if you come at them out of anger, they're not even going to listen. The audiences that we need to be engaging, they're not going to give us any play or any attention, because nobody really listens to someone that is angry. That's why it takes a higher level of intelligence to be a peacemaker, to come up with intelligent dialogue, intelligent solutions. There's a friend of mine, Nick Gain, he did a podcast recently, and he was talking about Faith Uncut, and he was talking about how religiously we got to this mindset where God was a man and God was heterosexual, and how it has shaped everything, and how we're not inclusive for gays, lesbians, or any other what we call queer. But I like, because the podcast, it took an intelligent approach. Instead of fighting with a Christian, going back and forth over the Bible, what they did was they engaged in intelligent dialogue to say, this is how the systems of what we live in got into place. And so you're going to be able to engage now a theologian way better than if you would going into hand-to-hand combat. This is what Jesus talked about when he said, if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Or he said, you've heard eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, which is very masculine wisdom. But he says, but I tell you now to love your enemy, because your enemy is bringing about a change in you ultimately. And then as you rise up and embrace that change, you come up with intelligent solutions that bring permanent and lasting changes. Once again, if you see somebody, for instance, in the store, and maybe it's a clerk in front of you, and that clerk is treating you rudely, is totally disrespecting you, you have the opportunity right there to be disrespectful right back. And you know what? You probably have a right to do that. But the higher level of intelligence says, I don't know what she's going through that has led her to be like this right now. I don't know the abuse that she endured as a child. I don't know what her day was. I don't know the systems that have contributed to her mindset. So rather than engage anger for anger, how about I take the higher approach to see and to look within this through the lens of love? And so the study War No More is about not being easily triggered by what we see, not getting caught up. Don't be triggered by a Facebook post. Come on, you guys, there are bigger battles that we need to fight.
Right.
Don't be triggered by these little bitty things that seem to trip us up. And let's rise up and to come up with real, intelligent, lasting spiritual solutions to these many problems that are confronting us. There are systems that must be dethroned, but they won't be dethroned if we're caught up in the small things, if you hear what I'm saying.
Right. Right. Yeah. And when we get triggered by Facebook posts, that's a trigger is something that is still needing to be healed.
Exactly.
So go in and heal that. Why is that? Go to the root of the issue, not into the debate over who's right and who's wrong.
Right.
Who cares?
Right.
Who cares? There is always good in love. Guess what, everybody? Love wins. That's the end of the story. Love wins. So why get stuck into these battles when the war's already won?
Yeah.
Love wins. If each of us shows compassion or has compassion for one another, even where we disagree, even with me not being a Republican and my Republican friends, if I can go and have a conversation and still go, but that's my brother, or that's my sister, or that is another human, or I may not agree with them, but you know what? Look at their heart. Look at their integrity. The two people that were fighting on my Facebook yesterday, they're both amazing people. They're great people. Let's rise above it. Who cares? Who cares? Let's rise above, because I got to tell you, you teach Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness is not just about Jesus. It's about ascended masters. Christ consciousness is the bridge to oneness.
Yeah.
It is that bridge. And when you can look at your brother and your sister and your community and go, that is me. Me too. That's me too.
Absolutely.
That's when your heart just bursts open with love. It's like the universe is made of love, and all the hatred, that's just the tears in love. We don't have to go and fight to go, yeah, but you said, and no, you believe this and I don't believe that. No, put love. Just keep filling it with love. And that heals the universe.
It heals. It's the only thing that will heal us. If you look now collectively, there is a lot of angst going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There is a lot of that energy and divisiveness that's going on. So before you share, before you speak, those of us who call ourselves spiritually conscious, let's make sure that we're not adding to the anger, that we're not adding to the collective dysfunction that's going on, that our language is inclusive, that our posture is inviting, that we are seeking reconciliation and understanding. And there's one thing, because I can feel angry about something and that it can anger me at a really deep level. And I can feel that at the same time, I can still be connected to that higher intelligence that allows me to see solutions. But many times we get so caught up in the problem that we can't see solutions.
Right, exactly.
Caught up in the problem so much that we become the problem, if you see what I mean.
Right.
And so it's very important that even when we are angry or something upsets us, that we still are trying to take the higher approach. What should be my role to bring about healing? What should be my role to bring about reconciliation? And that a lot of times is not going to be fighting directly with that person one-on-one, even though it feels good to do that at that time, Like I said, I brought up about my parents and stuff. I, for years, did not have a personal a sense of boundaries. And so when I did establish those boundaries, I went overboard. And the first thing that I lashed out at was the people that I saw, the people who raised me directly. But they were not my battle, you see? And so I had to go back after I went through that angry period and apologize to my mother and realize once again, there's a Louise Hay meditation, and she talks about seeing your parents as children who needed love and acceptance.
Yeah.
And where they didn't get it along the way, that you can see that a lot of times hurting people hurt people, or misguided people misguide people. And so where we're
Right.
trying to extract blame from a certain person, we'll never get resolution like that. There again are systems in place that got them to where they are. So our language should be of love. It should be of forgiveness. That's another word that we tend to sometimes shy away from. It's important that we forgive. And it's not only for them that you forgive. Forgiveness releases you. It releases and speeds up the healing
It does.
process in you. It does.
It releases you from the chains of that situation. I've had to go through, and it was actually easy for me, but I had to forgive somebody in my past, an ex-husband, and I had to forgive him, but it allowed that chain to be broken, that what was done, it doesn't chain, I'm not chained down to that hatred anymore.
Right.
But you know what, I want to touch on, we're not saying that we don't make a stand, right? We're not saying that.
Not.
You have those beautiful warrior children in Florida. That is what I see. They are taking, instead of them attacking the child that went in and shot at all their friends and killed their friends and their teachers, they are doing it the right way.
Right.
They are going to they're making a stand for love, for change.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. So that is taking the higher approach. That's taking the higher road and going, okay, the problem, yes, that child who did that boy who did that, is horrific. And what happened in Houston, or outside of Houston, was horrific. But it is going after the system and making a stand based in love. So if you start with love and go, okay, how can I change this? How can I make a difference? That's the key. That's the secret within the secret. That's how you do it. You don't do that by arguing with your neighbor over, are guns okay or are they not okay? It is making a stand for love. And that's how we make change.
That is it. You preached the message. That is exactly what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
So it's study war no more. Don't be easily triggered. Don't fight against flesh and blood. Don't petty stuff. Let petty stuff go. Right. But then at the same time, it is time to rise up and fight. To fight intelligently, to fight spiritually. And once again, you dethrone the devil by displacing the doctrine or the mindset that put him in place in the first place. So we talk about sacred uprising, what we're doing with this conference. We're not fighting religion. All we're doing is showing people a better way. There's another way of understanding. There's another way of comprehending. It was Socrates that says the secret of change is not to fight against the old, but it's to take all of that energy and establishing the new. And that's what we want to do. Right. That's how we make changes intelligently. That's what I want to share today.
I love it. And you know what, for those of us, because we started this out, just some little politics, let's not focus on what's going on right now.
Right.
Okay. What's going on right now, it is what it is, but let's focus on change for tomorrow. Let's refocus on what we want for this world, for what we want for this country and our communities, and fight for that, stand up for that, and stand in love, because love is everything. It's infinite love. And that is what this conference about. That's what Sacred Uprising is. It is awakening the consciousness of infinite love within, starting with you. And then let's spread it.
That's it. That's it.
I love it. I love it. Dak, it was such a pleasure having you on today. Like I said, I love you. I'm so grateful for you. And every time I talk to you, it revolutionizes my life and my soul and my spirit. So thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity. I love you too, girl.
All right, guys, we will be back tomorrow, so don't miss out. And I hope everybody has a great week. Anchor into love this week. See how it changes you. See how it changes your mindset, your heart, your soul, and just see everybody with compassion. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.